let's get going. My name is Steve. To those who don't know me, how are you doing? My name's Steve. I'm from Globotel, and I'm joined by Lucy Snell, the rock star of the day, who's gladly agreed to do this webinar surgery with us. I'm very, very excited about this one. It's a super unique idea, I think, that Lucy came up with in terms of actually live in the room, sort of critiquing and going through a digital campaign that somebody's put together of whatever kind it is, and giving feedback on it. It's something that we, I think the point of these things is always to give value. Otherwise, there's no point. And we recognize, Lucy and I have spoken about this quite a few times. We recognize your time is valuable. We make jokes about lockdown, but still time is valuable. So we want to try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. We recognize also that everyone in November the 11th of 2020 is webinared out. So we recognize that, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And we want to try and make it as not, we don't want to rush it, but we want to make it as valuable and as powerful as possible in this webinar. Of course, everything will be recorded and we will stick it on our YouTube channel. So if you do have to duck out early, or if you want to share this with colleagues afterwards, by all means. And but I'm sure Lucy has no issue with this. Whenever we do these webinars, these long webinars, we very much encourage audience participation. If you've got questions, if you are interested in if you weren't able to submit your campaign and you would like Lucy to take a look at it, by all means, she'll be available, I'm sure, after, just to have that conversation, or be in touch with her afterwards. Enough talking shit from me. Lucy, thanks for coming through.
Thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I've got a couple of slides that I'm going to run through, but just to really quickly introduce myself. So for anyone who doesn't know me, I recognise there's a few familiar names on the attendee list of people that I know. But so yeah, my name's Lucy. I've been helping creative and digital agencies with their new business for 20 years now. So I set up my own new business consultancy called Cherry back in 2004, and essentially we kind of act as an external addition to your team. We help you do all sorts of new business strategies and also the implementation. So we almost kind of act as a member of your team, and we're a resource that you can tap into and out of. And then aside from that, I've also got a platform called Lucy Snell Online, where I just want to teach agency owners how to do effective new business. And really my aim, a big aim, is to help agency owners love new business again. So that's kind of where I come from in my approach. But I'll jump straight in. Today I'm going to talk about some of the kind of key mistakes that I see agency owners make time and time again when it comes to new business. And this is kind of across, not just across digital agencies, but across all types of creative agencies. So hopefully I'll be able to share my screen.
Set it up already, you should be.
There we go, cool. And I will jump straight in. So yeah, so that's me. Let me just see if I can, there we go. So as Steve said, feel free to put questions in the chat. I'm not going to be able to see them because I'm going through the slides, sharing my screen. So what I'll do is you can keep an eye on them, jump in if you need to, but probably best just to keep questions till the end, if that's all right, so then I don't run over on time. So yeah, so some of the key mistakes that agencies make, and I think one of the things is that often agencies think that volume is great, and time and time again I see that agencies will have like a massive database that they mail out campaigns to on a regular basis, but the campaigns aren't really that targeted. They're not bespoke enough, and actually they can come across as being quite spammy. And now particularly as well with agencies that there's a lot of agencies that are unfortunately, scrabbling around for new business. And there's also, we're always looking for what I call that kind of shiny new object. And these might be in the form of like automation tools, new technology, but some of these tools can mean that we're just spamming a little bit too much. And it is, some of these tools can be quite, quick and easy to use. And it's really easy, especially when you're in kind of networking groups with other agencies, you might hear of someone saying they've had great success using a particular maybe platform automation tool for LinkedIn, for example. But you've got to be, there's definitely room and a place for automation, but you've got to be really careful about how you use it, especially the LinkedIn automation tools, because, they actually go against LinkedIn's terms and conditions, and you can kind of get banned from LinkedIn from doing it. But what I see is that often with these automation tools is that you can get results by messaging thousands and thousands of people every month on LinkedIn, and you might get some leads. But what you've got to be aware of is that you're playing a numbers game, and for every lead that you might get in, you're also you could be damaging your brand and reputation by annoying a lot of other people. So the ways that you can use automation and use more of a mass mailing campaign, I would say, and I would recommend, is use it kind of really at the top of the funnel, where you can share real content and thought leadership, add value, maybe invite them to, like we've done here, kind of invite them to a webinar or hopefully at some stage, an in-person event. Or invite them to download a white paper or join a community that you're creating, either on Slack or on one on Guild or one of the other other channels. But don't just rely on sending. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Don't just rely on sending mass email campaigns that aren't targeted, because it's really unlikely to get you anywhere, and it's going to be really damaging to your brand and reputation. And that's what it's all about. If we are selling ourselves as being an agency that can market, promote, and help companies get more clients, then we need to show that we can do it ourselves really well as well. And that's really important. The next thing that I do see happen a lot is that this is particularly agency owners, is delegating new business to somebody else. And I'm not saying, obviously, that you can't hire someone to do new business or hire a consultant. Definitely do that. But you can't just hire somebody and then let them get on with it. If you're an agency owner or an MD, then new business is your responsibility. And in fact, I remember in one of the agencies that I worked for, we had a sign on the wall that actually said new business is everyone's business. Because if you can make new business part of the agency culture and everybody involved in it, then you're just going to be so much more successful. But as an agency owner, you've got to lead new business. You've got to stay involved. There are a lot of new business people out there that aren't that great at doing their job, and it's really easy for them to kind of wash over and just talk to you about some of the stuff that they're doing. But unless you're kind of really involved in it, you're not going to understand what's happening and what's going right and what's going wrong. So you've got to have regular reviews, understand what's happening, do regular status updates, know what's working, know what's not working, and also understand that new business is a long-term game. It's not a quick fix. It's not about immediate results. It's about building a pipeline, developing relationships, and doing all of those things and constantly reviewing so that you know that you're going in the right direction. And vanity over sanity. I kind of love this saying. But I think, this is particularly true with agencies that, for example, if you want to run an event, this is when we could do in-person events. I would see agencies that would feel that if they had an event where they had loads of people there, that they would be happy with that result. They would think that was a brilliant result because they would have kind of the buzz of the people. They'll be able to kind of mingle and network. But there weren't so much concerned, and I've seen this time and time again with agencies. They're not so much concerned with the quality of the people that are there. So often they will, instead of making it a kind of closed, exclusive event, they'll promote it everywhere, all over Eventbrite. And you'll actually find out when you're kind of networking and chatting to people that a lot of the people there were, either from competitors or students. Big room full of students. And for me, I just think a small breakfast roundtable event with 12 or 15 kind of really senior decision makers is so much more valuable than a room full of 200 people, because actually you find that with these, the bigger the events are, the more people just kind of turn up, listen to the content, have the drink and then leave, rather than actually engaging in conversations. And that's what you want to get out of it. It's not just about you communicating to somebody else, it's about having those really meaty, valuable conversations with people, hearing what their challenges are, hearing what their insights are, and that's just so much better. And it's almost the same as well with webinars. If you can get together kind of a group where you're having maybe like accountability sessions where you're informally chatting over Zoom, rather than just doing a webinar where it's a one-way conversation, sometimes they can be much better. So think about vanity over sanity and what's important for you. It's not about making you look good, it's about what is actually going to get you results. And then
can I jump in there quickly and just...
Yeah, of course you can. I can have a drink.
Take a... Yeah, I can see you getting...
Of water, I meant.
Yeah. In lockdown, sure. I just want to make a point there, because I think what you're saying is so valuable, and it's actually a big trend at the moment as well. I think particularly over the last year with COVID, it's become quite a trend, but it's something that I think most good marketers are starting to recognize. And I think it goes back also to your first point about automation. As marketers, we went into this era of automation where we could have CRMs automatically sending emails and doing this and doing that. And we've reached a point, I think, and as I said, this trend in digital at the moment is to step away from that and say, hey, that's good and it does a job. And okay, maybe down an e-commerce platform or funnel, there's a place for that. But when it comes to actual meaningful conversations and actually engaging and nurturing a client down a pipeline, we as marketers tend to fall as a default onto that automation thing, and we need to get out of that. We need to recognize that one-on-one meaningful communication is more important. And I tie it up to what you said about having a more meaningful event of 10 decision makers in the room as opposed to 200. Vanity over sanity, exactly what you said. Having those people in the room and actually having a meaningful conversation and meeting 10 people for breakfast and actually having a meaningful conversation with 10 people is way more valuable than having 200 people in a room who you maybe share a handshake with and a business card, but you don't actually get anything out of. And I think that's something that... Yeah, I think it's just a point that I picked up there, that you say there's a bit of a theme there as well, in not just our operations, but in our sales and marketing as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that there are some great automation tools out there that can make your life easier. But the campaigns still need to be as targeted as possible, sharing value, and then you can maybe, as you move people down that kind of funnel, focus the follow-ups on people who have engaged, have clicked through, and then that's when you've got to move from the automated stuff to the more one-to-one personal stuff.
Yeah.
But just relying on automation, especially, I think I've got a big bugbear with LinkedIn automation at the moment. Because it just feels like every time you connect with someone, bam, 2 seconds later you get a message saying blah 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 blah, we've got some great synergies, I'd love to have a conversation, and it's just like, you're not even read my profile. What I do is nothing relevant to what you're saying, and it's clearly just an automated tool. And that can get results, but it does break my heart when I've seen it in different members groups that I'm part of on Guild and Slack, and agency owners have popped up and said, oh yeah, I'm using this great LinkedIn tool, and they message like 1,000 people every month and I'm getting a couple of leads. And I just think, yeah, but what about the other 1,998 people that you've messaged? What's happened to them, and why are they not responding? You're damaging your agency reputation. That's how I feel.
We kind of, as digital agency owners, we kind of take it for granted that there is and should be churn in either our own email databases or in our clients' email. It's just a part of doing marketing. But in a way, that's saying, no, you're actually chasing people away. You're beating them over the head with the wrong message, and they're actually opting out of hearing from you because...
Yeah, you always need to keep an eye on those unsubscribe figures, because once they've unsubscribed, they're gone. Pretty much.
Sorry, Luz, do me a favor. Just stop sharing your screen and reshare again. I've gotten a comment here about that someone's still stuck on the welcome slide. If anyone else...
Yeah, do you know what? My mouse isn't working. I was just trying to...
If anyone else is having issues seeing the slides, just put in the comments here just so we know.
It's really weird because I can't see my mouse. Let me see if I can. I wonder if there's a way I can stop. Oh, this is annoying me now. Can you stop my sharing because you're a host as well? Because something's gone wrong with my computer and I can't.
Let me share my screen quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Got it.
That stopped?
Yeah, it stopped sharing. Just reshare. Slides are working fine for me. So I think, Chris, it may just be you. Don't want to make you feel picked on for starting everyone down here, but just reshare just in case, because there may have been a one.
Yeah, it was really weird on my slide is that I can't, when I was doing it, I couldn't see my screen. But anyway, so you want me to reshare again? Let's carry on.
Just reshare.
Okay, so, cool.
Yeah, Daniela, thank you. Yeah, seems to be working. Got a couple of questions, but thank you guys for sending through. Keep sending the questions. We will, as soon as Lucy's finished, I think she's on 0.5. Yeah, so we'll get to those.
Yes, so there we go. So yeah, 0.5. Fortune is definitely in the follow-up. And that's so true when we talk about new business, and I track a lot of the, obviously being a new business person, I track a lot of the campaigns that I do, even if I'm just sending a one email. I use a software called MailTrack to see whether someone's opened it. So I kind of can report back to my clients like what's working, what's not working. And I see that actually I get so many more responses from the second, third, fourth email that I send to somebody than I do that first email. So you've got to follow up, and also it's really hard now to get hold of people on the phone, nigh on impossible. But because people are working from home, and a lot, especially big companies, they just don't have that kind of phone system set up where you can reach people from home. But you still do need to make those phone calls as well, because there are some companies that you can get through to, and you'll have a much more valuable conversation with somebody over the phone than you will on email. So, you've got to follow up. And also, especially once you've sent a proposal, don't just assume that someone, if they're not coming back to you, don't just assume that they're not interested. You've got to keep following up until you get that feedback. You don't have to harass them. Don't be that annoying, caller that rings every day and stalker, but definitely keep following up. And you'd be surprised, things can come back into the fold 6 months, 12 months later. But when you're sending out mass campaigns, then what I do is I focus my follow-ups. It sounds obvious, but I focus my follow-ups on those that click through and open. But I've got a super simple follow-up email that I send. Once I've sent my first email, I just go back, resend it, forward it on, and just do like a one-line email that just says, I'm trying to reach you just to follow up on my email below. Let me know when's a good time to catch you. Of course, I always give a little opt-out. Of course, if you're not interested, just let me know. And I do get much more responses from that. It does work wonders. So my final point is about not being consistent enough. And I get this. I know I can understand why this is so hard for agencies, especially because it's for smaller agencies that don't have a new business function. It's really hard to stay on top of that. And I totally understand that. But I've described new business as almost like being an aeroplane, and if you're not getting that kind of enough momentum to take off, then you're never gonna reach those heights. So you have to just keep that consistent daily effort. There was a book called I can't remember it now. It's by Darren Hardy, but I'll remember it in a minute. But he talks about the compound effect. That's it. So he talks about just small daily action can get so much more results than trying to do something big, then something small, then something big, and nothing at all. So I would say this is what I coach to agencies that I work with that are really struggling with time, is to just set yourself a really small goal, to start off with, which might be contact one new person every single day. And if you do that, then you're going to get some incredible results. That could be 5 people a week, 20 a month. What does that work out? Like 720 people a year. And you're going to get results from that by being consistent. But if you stop and start a campaign, win a client, then stop, then you're never going to have that pipeline going. And I've got it with agency clients where I've worked with them for years, and we've just got a really rich, warm database, and it makes new business so much easier. So how are we doing for time now, Steve? Shall we?
22 minutes. We got we've got a couple of questions if you want.
Yeah, let's jump into questions, because what I'll do is we'll jump into questions and I can do the review of the agencies that have shared their stuff with me, and then if you want me to chat any more about anything, then I can do.
So guys, I mean, we've got a couple of questions based on what Lucy's just shared. Obviously we want to get to the campaign review and whatnot, but just to kick off, you were just talking about the follow-ups. We'll start with that one. Do you follow up? One question from and then do you follow up for people who open emails or those who don't email as well? So I mean, I think obviously referring to how many people and who do you follow up with? I'm assuming you follow up with everyone but with different messages.
Yeah, it depends on the size of the campaign. So I prefer doing really small campaigns personally, but over the last 6 months, because I think the number of companies that have budget and that are spending, and the number of briefs that are around has unfortunately gone down, I have been widening my campaigns a bit more. So I've been sending them to a larger number. So if it's but always leading with value, like sharing a thought leadership piece or something. But so if it's going to a large number, I haven't got time to follow up on hundreds and hundreds of people. So then I do first of all those who have clicked through, then those that have opened, and then I'll start working through the list of everybody else.
Got you.
But when you're doing more bespoke one-to-one emails, follow up with everybody.
Got you.
Definitely. And also, sorry, just one quick thing is that, we've probably all heard from all their marketing theories that people need to see a message 7 or 8 times before they're ready to buy, and with agency new business it's no different. And we're not buying a product, we're buying a service that's going to have a massive impact on our jobs, how we look in our company. So we need to know before we're going to even consider briefing an agency. We need to have that know, like and trust factor. And so you've got to build that. And if you think, okay, if someone needs to see my message 8 times before they're ready to even kind of engage, then half the emails that you're sending probably they won't even see anyway. So you do need to keep that regular kind of volume going. Got
you. So there's a couple of, I'm seeing a theme here with the questions that come through in terms of emails, and I don't want to get off the topic of what we're here to do.
Oh no, it's fine.
So let's leave those questions till the end. Let's move on then to the review, and then we can always bring up the questions, the other questions that we've got. If there are any questions, guys, please do keep sending them through. There's a couple here from anonymous attendee. I don't know, obviously don't know who that is, but you can just shoot through the questions. We'll take care of them at the end. I know that there's quite a few people who are interested in obviously the people who've submitted their work, that they want to get and firstly also I just want to say thank you to those agencies who did come forward and say, hey, here's one of ours, we'd like you to have a look at it, because I know it's not always easy to.
So brave.
Yeah, it is brave. And it's funny, this morning when I was waking up, I thought, it's quite interesting because in business we need to be vulnerable. I'm sure if anybody's got a business coach out there, they've probably banged your head on about vulnerability in business, specifically working with your teams, is pretty important. So demonstrating that vulnerability about your own campaigns is pretty good, and standing up in front of a bunch of peers and saying, hey, we acknowledge that we would like to have our work critiqued. So thank you to the guys who are doing that. I don't know if you've spoken to Luce, if it's confidential or who you are or whatever, but Luce will take it from there.
Cool. So yeah, I was trying to think about the best way to do this. So what I've got 2 agencies. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen as well, so you can kind of see what they've submitted. And I'll just talk you through kind of a few things. I mean, there's a lot, and I could go on for hours, but obviously I don't want to. So I'll just share some kind of key points. But the only thing that worries me is that when I was sharing my screen, my mouse didn't work. So let me just have a look. Do you love technology?
Well, this is why I made you host, so that these are not my problems.
I've never had it before where it doesn't do that. Oh no, it does. I think it was just on my keynote. Okay. So the first one is a website proposal. So this is for an agency called White Space. So they've kind of blanked out who they did the proposal for, but it's okay for me to share everything else. So what I would say, so this kind of I always say that with proposals, I just think it's really good to start to have the bit about the agency and about you kind of at the back, because I feel that when you get to proposal stage, they already know who you are. So you almost don't need to repeat it, but you should still have it in there in case that proposal is passed on to somebody else within the team who doesn't know you. But I just think having it up front, when I started my company Cherry back in 2004, we did it back to front. So we always started out the proposal with, the brief, why we want to work with them, about the agency that we were talking to, and then the back half was all about us. And we still do that to this day, and that works really well. So that's what I would do. This has got the kind of top line summary page, that's fine. So that's what I would do here, is where it says a little bit about us. I would just put that at the back. And instead what you could have is a bit of a personal, almost like a personal note or a letter that could be signed, and you could have the pictures. So down here we've got images of the team, but it could just be, why do we really want to work with you? We've really enjoyed meeting with you. Sounds like an incredible project. This it's really exciting, our team. We really want to work with you, and just show a little bit of kind of personality, passion for the team. And add that, and I think that would work better than having a bit of the first bit to be about who you are, because I think by this stage they would know who you are. So that's what I'd put on there, and then it goes into.
Sorry, Luce, let me jump in. Sorry, can I jump in here quickly and just say something?
Yeah, sure.
That we pick up a lot of with digital agencies. Obviously, Globatel, we're a wholesale digital marketing agency, so we work and support digital agencies from all over the world. And I think what you've just hit on here is a theme that we see often with digital agencies is we call it self-serving. We tend to obviously be try to bang on about us, and often to the detriment of achieving the outcome that we're trying to achieve, which is get the business or convince the client to do work with us or whatever it is. But we tend to, because it's we're passionate, we put so much time and effort into building our digital agencies, we bang on about us. And there's a couple of dangers to that. The one danger is obviously you can take that thinking through to your clients who you're doing work with, and you start to say, hey, I've got an optometrist who's a client, and I'm going to just bang on about them, and how good they are, and how good, forgetting that you're actually trying to convince an audience to come to the table. So it's not always about you and how good you are, or how you're putting yourself first. Obviously, it's something that we like to do because we're digital and we're proud of what we've done. But we need to step back and say, hey, is this the most important thing to put up front? Or is it more important to say, hey, here's a bunch of reasons why you should work with us, how we can make your life better. Not we're great and you should work with us because we're great. Rather, you should work with us because we're going to achieve your goals rather than be self-serving about us.
Yeah. There's a great book called Building a Storybrand by Donald Miller. And he talks about that, we need to approach all of our messages with a story. And the story is, there's always a hero of the story. And the hero isn't you. Yeah. I'm not the hero. The hero is the person that is our target audience, because they care about themselves. They care about their problems. They don't care about you. But I've seen it in agency creds as well, or pitch documents where they have, an hour or 45-minute pitch slot, and the first 10 slides is, this is us, this is our team, this is how many countries we're in, this is our awards, and it's like, we've already covered all of this, and I'm sure the company has already seen all of that on your website. Yeah. They've already gone through all of that way before they get to the pitch stage. You don't need to repeat it. Have it at the back as a little kind of appendix. Definitely have it somewhere at the back in case the document is passed on to someone else that's not involved. But I wouldn't have it up front.
Yeah, your brand and your story are still important, and you take credit for the work you've put in, but we need to get out. We sometimes need to step back and say, hey, this isn't about us, it's about my client or my agency.
Yeah, and definitely what you said, Steve, about I would have in this proposal right at the front, why you should work with us, why choose us over all the other agencies out there, why are we a perfect, not because we're brilliant, but why are we a perfect partner for you? And how are we going to make why are you going to enjoy working with us? Because that's what it's about as well. It's not just about delivering results, it's about them enjoying working with you. And you making their lives easier. So I think with this one, this is just about kind of the advantages of collaborating with white space. we're not going to read it all out, but in this paragraph was about that we're seeing a shift away from templated sites back to bespoke solutions. And so perhaps this was addressed because maybe the company was considering a templated option. So it's great to address that, but I would also maybe add in there a bit of kind of reinforcement as to why, why are we seeing that shift? Is it because what customers demand? Is it because, I mean, I'm not a digital tech guru, but is it because they rank higher with Google, for example? Is it because we need to be providing a better customer experience or user experience? So I would add in a little bit more kind of proof points there. Again, this bit as well about kind of the tech stuff, I would have further at the back. And then I think for me, this section here, which has got your requirements, like your brief and your project, brilliant to reframe the brief. I always do that. I think that's really important so we know that we're on the same page. But I've put a comment in here about, and I'll send this document to Whitespace, but I put a comment in here about the review the headings, because it's got, there's a lot of text in here, but it's got about your project. So we've got kind of like the brief, and then it kind of goes into additional, and it almost goes into like the response and what we're going to do, what we recommend without the heading. And I think the thing for me is when you're seeing like people's attention spans are quite short. We're easily distracted, we don't read stuff, we flick through stuff, our eyes will, might not even if it's a important document, a proposal, our eyes will still kind of flick ahead. And so the headings are really important, images are really important. So I would just use a bit more in here, like review the headings, make the headings kind of quite enticing but descriptive. So I think, you could have a heading that's got a bit more about, okay, this is the brief, this is our recommendations, and these are the next steps, for example, rather than these headings that don't make sense. I put some comments here, so let me see what this is. This is just a bit of copy, so maybe kind of change this, because you've got, I think that overall the copy could be a little bit more, maybe authoritative, a bit more like, confident, I suppose. So here we've got, the site should not only set you apart from your competition, but raise the bar. But I think, is that the brief of what the client's given you, or is that your belief and what you can do? And if that's what you can do, I would just, state it more confidently to say, we can set your site apart from your competition, or we know how to create a site that will be, that will be far above your competitors. And in here again, be a bit more forthcoming. So rather than it's worth considering, we highly recommend. But I know that some of these suggestions are tone of voice, and it's got to fit in with your agency tone of voice. Yeah. But there were just a few other comments. And then what else did I have us see? So again, I would, just headings, just have some of these as some of the kind of main headings. So it's a little bit clearer, maybe divide it up into sections, so it's a bit clearer to read. Project management is probably really important, really key. So what they have, and CMS. So what I was going to suggest as well, they've got two different CMS options. One is their own CMS built, a custom built CMS, which is Traffic, and one is WordPress. And maybe to make it easier to read, maybe you could have like a table chart that has like, the functionality or the benefits compared, so they can see that. That could be better. And then here as well, we've got a comment that says, we've had loads of positive feedback about using their own interface. So I would, have a testimonial there to prove it. And I think testimonials do go a long way, both on websites and in proposals and in Creds Deck. Definitely have testimonials, and there's ways to write a testimonial so you can pull out the headline as well, because again, people don't read the whole testimonial, they'll just read the headline. We're all a bit lazy. That was a comparison table, and I think that was probably, I would also have, so then it goes into case studies, I think, and these are just kind of images. And the workflow guys, I didn't really have much to comment on that. and their fees. But then, the case studies at the back, which is great to have about the agency, case studies at the back. But I would just, these case studies are just images, whereas I would have a little bit of a summary of like what the brief is, some results if you can, or testimonials again, increase in conversion by XXX, or increase in visitors, whatever. Definitely have results in there. And I think agencies need to get better at putting results and proof points against some of their case studies. And then the only final thing would be, at the end, I would have next steps, because you want to have that kind of call to action. Next steps, have a call to talk through the proposal. Or if we want to get started, we kick off with that first workshop, or this is what we need to get started from you. Let's just scroll through, but I would also have, just as a kind of best practice, the contact details. I would never have kind of the general email address. I would have your own personal contact details, because, sometimes proposals end up getting kicked around, and they might be passed on to somebody else, and they might be picked up, 6 months later. And if you've got your own kind of direct line, personal email address, not personal, but your work one, then it's just feels a bit better and easier to contact you, feels more personal. So I think that was my feedback on that one. There is, with regards to pricing, I haven't gone into that, but Blair Enns, who has written a book called Pricing Creativity, he talks about giving three pricing options. But I've yet to work out how to do that. But, in terms of anchoring high, putting a really high price option, which is like, if budget was unlimited, this is all singing, all dancing option you could choose. And then this is a mid price, and this is the basic. And then that means that there's kind of not as much room for negotiation. They just kind of can see the different options. So that's something to consider as well.
Got you. Yeah, on the pricing thing, if anybody watching and anyone's interested, we've got a couple of ebooks that you can, if you want, just get in touch with Hayley or I, and we'll happily give to you. We've put a bit of thought into that. Much easier than reading a book. I'm sure the book's probably way more.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's particularly around running a digital agency and how digital agencies should be setting their pricing.
That's good.
If you're interested, just shout out. There's just one thing I think, just from my side, that I picked up there as well, which I thought might be worth sharing, just an opportunity to share something that we learned. I don't know if you can find us all the way at the top, but there were one or two instances of sort of bullet points of sort of technical things, like SSL security, SSL certificates.
That one.
Somewhere there. Just a comment on that, and obviously coming from a content back, there you go, free SSL certificate, daily offsite backups. I think it's just worth mentioning that often, when we put proposals like this together, or when we put documentation together, we tend to forget who we're talking to. Sometimes we're talking to businesses who have no idea about these sorts of technical things. You might be pitching this to a restaurant group, and they have no idea about any of this sort of thing. So just a comment on those when we do get into the habit of putting bullet points, because it's what we know, it's our language. Often it's worthwhile just putting in 50 to 100 words after that, explaining the benefit of that. Why is that important? Because it does often, as I say, is when someone's looking for a proposal, they see free SSL certificate, but they don't know what that is. And sometimes they may be a bit, uneducated clients is something that all digital agencies deal with. They may not be too scared to ask. So rather just, maybe in just 20, 30 words or whatever, free SSL certificate, so that you can rest assured that you don't have to worry about your site getting hacked or whatever the benefit. I'm not too sure.
That's a really good point. Yeah, really good point.
I think it's just, sometimes as agency owners, we get so stuck into the world of the agency that we forget that we're talking to, for lack of a better, it's only agency people in this room. So to idiots, they have no idea about what a CMS is. Sometimes it's as simple as that.
But also there's so many different stakeholders involved now, especially like procurement as well, and finance director, CEO sometimes. And
as you said, you don't know where this proposal's going, whose desk is going to land up. Imagine if the CEO does get this and their background is in creative or in finance, and you've got they're sitting with a document in front of them that fully just breaks down into benefits. why they should choose you, or this agency is actually taking the time to speak my language. Dude, these are the guys we need to go with. You know, like it could be listen, if only life was that simple, but who knows, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the thing with all of our comms. We need to think about, okay, what's the features of something, and then what's the benefit, the actual benefit to the prospect and to the company.
Sorry, just a point here. Also, Scott O'Brien shared. We also put a URL to a video, a short 30 seconds. Scott, excellent point, and I think that's coming up now. Lucy, we looked at the landing page. I think that you're going to review as well. So we'll get to that, Scott. Thank you.
What's that? Sorry, who's Scott? Who's Scott?
Scott O'Brien is. I don't know. He's just made a mention here in the comments.
Right, let me have a look. So the next one I'm going to review is 1440, but yeah. I didn't see anything from Scott. I can't see my comments now, so
no, it's fine. Yeah, I've sorted it. He just
okay. We'll go on and we'll have a look.
Yeah, Scott, videos. I think it's a properly true what you've just said.
Cool. So yeah, the next one was 1440, and what they have created like a whole campaign, which is brilliant. I think it's going to be a really good campaign. It just needs a couple of tweaks in terms of copy and again thinking about features and benefits. But I think it could work really well, and it really kind of underpins my ethos of what I talk about in terms of leading with value. And that we have to kind of almost offer something for free, and unfortunately we've got to offer something in order to get something in return, because it's part of that building relationship and trust and know and like factor. So what they've done is they have created an ad campaign. I think it's going to Facebook ads campaign that's basically going to lead people to a landing page. So they are targeting small business owners to offer a free workshop to make sure their website is performing as well as it should be. So they're going to be running an ad campaign that will go to a landing page. They've got an email campaign as well. And then the idea is that people will then book the workshop. So the thing, I mean, I'm not, just kind of full disclosure, I'm not a Facebook ads expert in at all. So I've run some Facebook ads campaigns myself. But in terms of what works and what doesn't work, I can't add an awful lot in terms of the Facebook ads. But Steve, feel free to pitch in if you want. But all I would say really about the Facebook ads is, when I've done ones before, is I kind of would add a little bit more copy, again thinking about what are the pain points which we've got here in terms of online presence letting you down, making sure the website is performing as well. I've highlighted this bit, because that's a typo. Yeah, so highlight the pain points and highlight the benefits, focus on the features and the benefits, because in their email copy they talk about a free complimentary or free website workshop where the output is an action plan. And I think that would be really good to kind of hook somebody in as well, to have that in the copy here in terms of what they're going to get out of it. So that was what my comments would be on the Facebook ad. There's that one. But if anyone else, I know that we are a group of digital agencies, so there may be others that I'm sure that have got so much more that they can feed back on. So this was the second one. Let me just narrow it in so you can see a little bit more. The thing I would say about Facebook ads as well, it's probably worth considering doing a video. Yeah. Having said that, I ran an ads campaign. So I did a week-long new business bootcamp back in October, and I ran Facebook ads to that. I did image and I did video. Spent ages recording the video as well. I thought it was pretty good, but it performed really poorly in terms of ads. I don't know why. I had an ads manager hired who was helping me with that. She was brilliant. And so she switched it off. So I don't know what works better and what doesn't, but people do say video, always try video as well. So that's what I would suggest really on the Facebook ad. But then when you go through to the Facebook, when you click through, it takes you through, and tell me if you cannot see this page, but you should be able to. Takes you through to this landing page. And what I would say is just to what I hear is that if you're directing someone from an ad to a landing page, you've got to kind of make sure it mirrors it in terms of language. And this doesn't. So on the Facebook ad, you're talking about a workshop, and it's minor language, but it's still important. you're talking about a digital workshop around their website, and then you go onto the landing page and you're talking about a free consultation. And almost for me, I try and stay away from the word consultation, because I feel like it's kind of almost where people are just going to try and sell you something, or this and going to be like, okay, I'll give you a consultation to tell you what you need and this is what happens. I don't know. I like the word workshop better. But also I think this above the fold part of the landing page, again, needs to be really reflective of what it is that they're going to get. So this is what we're off. This is your pain point. This is what you're going to get. And as an example, I mean, mine's no means the best, but this is just as an example. This is what I've got for mine. So I've got, the pain points here about new business being an uphill struggle, bit of proof points about why I'm qualified to help. And then down here, I've got, 5 bullet points of what they'll actually get, and focusing as well on like the benefits. So you've got like the feature, what it is, and then the benefit. So I think that's what I would change in terms of the bit above the fold, is making sure that the CTA is the same as the Facebook ad, and just focusing on features and benefits of it. And again, as well, I would have testimonials really help. So, client testimonials, and what they're going to get out of the workshop, which is that action plan. And maybe, I don't know if all of this is necessarily needed, but so down here we've got, this bit, I think, where you've got kind of what they have to do. Should be more up the front, because people need to be able to know what they've got to do. It's got to be easy for them to make that decision. Do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? What's the outcome? What's the benefit for me? So I'd move that a bit further up in terms of the landing page. And then they've done let me just see on my notes if there's any others. I think that's it. So there is actually a digital lady who's really good at, she's absolutely amazing at landing pages and online marketing, called Amy Porterfield. And she does have a podcast that was fairly recent, so kind of in the last kind of 6 weeks, which is all about small changes you can make to a landing page to make them work really well, just in terms of the language that you can use on the button, colors, images and stuff like that. So I'd recommend listening to that one.
Gotcha.
And then there's an email campaign.
Hold on, before you go off this one, so I just want to reiterate a few things that Lucy, that you hit on here.
Yeah, do jump in.
Yeah, just some of the bigger picture stuff, guys. Obviously, and by all means, there's a good few dozen people in the group now. There's about 24 people here. So by all means, jump in, and if you do see anything that you'd like to share, go ahead. I just want to hit on a few things that I know, obviously, from doing Facebook ads, landing page and stuff like that. What Lucy said as well is particularly around the content. And marrying the two, the landing page and the ad content. For me, looking at that ad it's just a black image with writing on it. Maybe, and then you go to the landing page where it kind of, there's a bit of a incongruence between the two. That's the first thing. Also on the Facebook ads, I know that best practices are to use something a little bit more eye-catching, something that's going to stop a person from scrolling. You want to catch that attention, and a black image may not be the best way to do that. Maybe a lifestyle image, that's why we have pretty people in the world, thank God. So we can put them on our Facebook ads and we'll stop people from scrolling so they can check them out. But that's the one thing. The other thing, I think what you said, Luce, about content in particular is every single word counts. And we know that because Facebook tells us you can only have X amount of words, or Twitter tells us you can only have X amount of characters in a tweet. And we have to make the most out of that space and that amount of words. So what you said there about benefits, pain points, really drill those home. If you go back to the ad there quickly, the one ad was, let me just see there, that said something that helps you win more business. The very last line, help you create something that helps you win more business. That's a real, that's something
that one is convert more customers and win more business.
Yeah. Whereas up at the top, you've got, are you worried about your online presence? Then you down pain points. Win more business, benefits. Those are the kinds of things that are going to attract and turn a business owner on. That's what they're thinking about all day long. So really, really think about where in that caption or in that description does that content go. So you can make the absolute most out of that space, that very limited space that you've got. At the end of the day, it's all about benefits and people being in it for themselves. How is this going to help me? It's not about you and your, how's it going to help me? So, even that line, I think for business owners who don't need just another website, get that, I understand that. But would that be better served to have, do you need to win more business in your agency, or are you sick of what, I can't remember what the top line was, but are you tired of wondering, is your online presence letting you down? Boom, black background, white writing. That's something that might stop and go, hey man, I was they agree that our online presence is letting us down. Maybe I should check these guys out. So really think hard about.
And you could try that. You could test the images. So you could have one campaign that's just a black image with the right writing, and another one with a live, an image of the team or something.
And I think that's a good point as well, Lucy, is that we're not at all delving into the back end of a Facebook group, ad or a landing page ad. We're not looking at any analytics or performance metrics. We're not looking at
the audience. I don't understand any of that. That's why I hired someone to do my ads, because I just thought I can't work out anything about this audience stuff.
Unfortunately, I think as digital agency owners, a lot of the time we forget that we feel like that's what's let us down, but actually it's our copy. Or we feel like our copy's let us down, and actually it's our audience targeting. So it is a big job, and that's why there are experts out there. But I think that maybe what we're getting to here is just think about it, guys. Don't just assume that you've got your copy is amazing and then forget about the back end, who's running your ads, who's budget, that sort of thing.
And it's about that journey as well, just making sure that the message is consistent throughout.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
And then so then they've got this email campaign, and there was like a 4-stage email, and I think I'll just give a bit of a top line observation on this, but I think that the emails are great in terms of, and almost the copy in the emails are better than what's on the landing page and on the ads. They really do talk about features, benefits, pain points. I would test the subjects. Subject lines are really tricky to get right, because apparently the optimum number of words is about 4, and the optimum number of characters is really short, and it's really hard to try and get across what you want in just 4 words. I use a tool called CoSchedule. If you go onto their resource page, they've got a subject testing tool, and that will tell you, it will kind of rank your subject line. But I think, in this one, I did put this one into the subject line tester, and it ranked quite low. And it showed you, I did a copy and paste, but it shows you, I don't know if you can see there, but when you view it on a mobile, you'll just see hello from the Belfast agency. For me, that would kind of want me to just scroll right, left or right and delete, because it's not really about, it's like, oh, you're just trying to sell to me. So I think with the subject, you've got to really think about how you can entice somebody in to open that email. And that's really important. Subject line's really important, and also the little, which don't know how it looks on just from seeing these PDFs, but the little kind of 2-line description, again, is really important. So when you're putting it into your mailing campaign platform, just make sure that 2-line description that you have underneath the subject line, the viewing description is really entices someone to read it. So I would have a fiddle around, have a look at the play around with the subject headers. If you can test it as well on your platform, do kind of A/B testing as well. But I think you need to just, I would guess it's about trying to, with the headlines, trying to be confident in what you can help with people with. So I was saying, instead of having like business owners start telling more people who you are and why you matter, you could just be a bit more bullish and say, get more clients by telling people who you are and why you matter.
Sorry to interrupt there, but that's exactly when I read that. Start telling more people who you are and why you matter. Twice in that one sentence, you've said you. You're talking about you. And again, it comes back to that self-serving thing. You get it. You want your agency to do well or whatever it is, but how are you helping them? And that's exactly what you said there, Lucy, is like, get to a benefit, get to something that win more clients. I mean, man, what more could you sell to a digital agency owner than that? To a business owner than that, win more clients, And that heading is so important. It's your one big
definitely. I mean, I think the thing is, I think with these emails, within the emails are quite long, and within them there's some great copy. But I think there needs to be a bit of moving stuff around, because you just want to get to the point straight away, which is, would you like to have a free workshop with us where we can really uncover what's going wrong with your website, and what small fixes you can make to get more clients. And I think if you can have that right up at the front, and also there's so much kind of psychological research done on scarcity, and that kind of behavioral cues of scarcity. And so if someone thinks they might miss out, they're more likely to go for your offer. So often when I'm promoting workshops, I will always have it in there, like, we're running a very limited number, or we got 10 spaces. We've opened up our diary for 10 spaces across the month of November to run these workshops. And so I've put this here, they simply can't sell the way they could pre-COVID, and every purchase is tightly considered by the customer. Or you could have something like, we know that it's so hard to get it right. And particularly in this kind of post-COVID world, companies are struggling, which is why we want to help you, and we're running a limited number of workshops throughout the month of November to help you uncover the challenges. So I would have that up front as well, and almost maybe in the title. You could have it in the title. I'm trying to think of what other words you could have in the title. I don't know if I made some notes on it, but yeah, you could have in the title about limited spaces, or I don't think you can use the word free. I think you've got to be careful with kind of what words might be picked up by spam. So yeah, we would love to help you win. We can help you win. We can help you stop losing business to competitors. So just be a bit more kind of bullish there. This was just a typo that I've highlighted that one. So I'll share this back with the guys at 1440. I think that should be from. So there's quite a lot of emails, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but our team will help you. So maybe change that to let us help you. Let us help you grow your business by telling more people who you are and why you matter. I really like this, that they've kind of nailed this as their bit of their, not strapline, but a bit of what they do. More people know about you, more people want to buy from you, and I think that's really good. You can have that further up. I think keep the call to action copy again consistent throughout the campaign, whether it's book your workshop, or maybe try and use a bit more creative language. This stuff here I think should sit on the landing page, because I think it means that people know exactly what it is that they're signing up for. It's 1 hour, it's free, and this is the outcome. So I would have that on the landing page as well. And I would consider having this higher up. So I think the email right at the beginning needs to be, this is why we're contacting you, this is what we're offering, this is your pain points.
They've actually got some really tight, good pieces of marketing there. Like you said,
really good. And these other emails, I'm not going to go through them all. There's like 4 of them, but I think they're really good, and I think they can pull out a lot. In terms of they're really thinking about what it is that business owners are struggling with right now, how they can help them, and leading with value. So I think some of this stuff could be on the landing page, some of this stuff could be further up. When was the last time you got a sale as a direct result of your website? When was the last time your digital marketing performed better? So all of this stuff is really good, but I think it's just moving it a little bit around, cutting it down a bit, remembering that people's attention span's quite short, so they want to know straight away in that first line almost what it is that why it is you're contacting them and the benefits for them.
Can I jump in there quickly? Because
sure.
Email marketing, and as I said, the content thing is something that I've been involved with for a long while, and I'm quite passionate about, because email is such an important marketing strategy that a lot of agencies don't use, and it's free. The email subject line there, straight away, one thing I would say is you need to put in the name of the person. I know that I haven't checked the stats in the last while, but I know that people are more likely to click on an email when you include the name or an emoji. But just that particular one, business owners start generating more sales today. I think that's great, but I mean, we're all sitting right now. If we have to ask someone to share their screen and show us their Gmail updates, link, their tab. It's just full of spam, and we just don't subscribe to. But just scroll down a little bit to the first website.
But you could have something, sorry, I just had an idea. You could have something like limited time, because that in the co-schedule checker, that because they show you words, examples of words that are more likely to increase open rate, and examples of words that are more likely to end up in spam. Limited time was one that's more likely to increase open rates. You could have like limited time dash improve website performance now. Yeah. Or something like that, or and again, I know that you're supposed to include emojis. I'm not a great fan of emojis, but I think, you know, for that limited time, you can almost put like a little calendar emoji, or you know, you could. I think it's worth trialing, because these digital marketing platforms, they test and test and test, and they know what works.
Exactly,
so it's definitely worth trialing them.
And that's the point. And I think, and speaking of trialing, there it says on your first bullet point, firstly, there's no high name or anything like that. But in your first bullet point, you got there, when was the last time you got a sale as a direct result of your website? Maybe that's a good subject line for you. You know, maybe that's something that comes up in someone's feed, and they think about, you know, you're asking a question that they can maybe resonate with. You know, as you say, that trialing and testing things out, I think is the key when especially marketing. You've got the opportunity to split your database up, try different mails to different people.
Yeah. And I have started using their first name a lot more in emails. Obviously, I always use it kind of as the opener, like, you know, Henry, hello. But you could always put it here as well, because when people are scanning, their eyes will automatically scan to words that they recognize, and when they see their name. So sometimes I have it as the closing line. I might put, you know, David, I appreciate taking up your time, or can we arrange a meeting, David, or this, and just having it a couple of times throughout the email works really well as well.
Gotcha. That's quite interesting as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the only thing I would say with these different emails is that I'm not sure what the journey is. You know, it feels like they're all kind of almost different emails. They might be different, and this might be it. It might just be different email options that they were going to test, or is it supposed to be like a journey that they get one and then they get the next one and then the next one? And I think if that's the case, you almost need to kind of build it up a little bit more, include a bit more about scarcity. You know, we've only got a couple of workshops left. We've run some workshops really successfully, and maybe just have a really short follow-up one, you know, where you're sending the original one and you're just saying, you know, trying to reach you to see if it's of interest. So just kind of think about that journey of the emails as well.
Gotcha.
Stats is really good. Yeah, so I think they've got a really good kind of starting point, and it just needs to. I guess my top tips would be, make sure the Facebook ad is directly reflective of the landing page. Make sure the landing page speaks more to the benefits and outcomes. So you've got that what kind of was it a workbook? I can't remember, action plan. And then with the emails, just reduce the number of words in the emails, focus on the subject line, and then bring the benefit of the workshop and what you're offering right up front, and use scarcity as well, and words, names, personalize them.
Gotcha. So there's a couple
I think that's it. Hopefully that's helpful.
Beautiful. Yeah, guys, please let us know in the comments. I mean, that's obviously the surgery that we wanted to do and actually pick apart and hopefully give you guys some insight into what Lucy sees in campaigns and how she would improve them. Let us know if if that was helpful, and if you'd like us to do it again, we can obviously do that. Lucy, there's a couple of interesting comments.
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screens so we don't need to see that one again. Yeah, cool.
If you'd like us to unmute you, you can always chat to us as well. But I mean, Martin says here, it's a fair enough point. Does anyone in the world believe this fake scarcity anymore? I think it's an outdated and crass approach. Lydia agrees. No, it doesn't work on me as I always find it's a marketing gimmick. I agree to an extent. And of course, guys, we've all become pretty smart. And even if you're not a marketer, you're attuned to what's going on. If you are getting these spam emails, you know that you're in some sort of funnel and you're getting pushed around. But there is something about the human psychology that it just. I agree. It doesn't.
I think that first of all we need to recognise that we are marketeers. So we kind of are coming from like, oh, I've been told this, I know this, and I'm not going to fall for it myself. Whereas the people that we're contacting, especially with this company agency, they're contacting small business owners. They don't know that kind of marketing theory, but I think it's in us. It's kind of a behavioural cue that we can't really. It's quite difficult to change, and you might think that you don't fall for it, but I'm sure that you do. I'm sure that when you see kind of ads that even like EasyJet, they use that. So when you go online and you're booking a flight and it pops up, only 5 places left, only 5 seats left. Or when you're going to, there was another thing on a, I think it's called Proof, actually. There's a software called Proof, where if you've got a landing page and it'll pop up to say, and it'll have that person's name, like so-and-so has just registered for this webinar, so-and-so has just registered for this webinar, and all of those kind of things, social proof and scarcity, they do work. But you probably just think that it doesn't. And you can use it. You use the right language. You can use it in a way that it doesn't appear crass in terms of the language as well.
I think you just convinced Lydia, because she says, yeah, in fairness, some products, if the niche is specific, the scarcity is working on you, like airlines and Scott as well. So well done. You've convinced a few. You've got a few people. And guys, at the end of the day, it is about that psychology. And we are always getting smarter and smarter in marketing. We just need to think of new ways, I suppose. Guys, there were a couple of questions here about how do you set up a story campaign, typical size of the email, etc. Those are much more technical questions. I'd be happy to chat to you guys afterwards and introduce you to my team, the Google Ads team or the Facebook Ad team, and they can help you out with those questions. So Lydia, I see your question there, and I'd be happy to set something up afterwards. We'll reach out to you. And anybody who's interested, if you are struggling with capacity in your agency, by all means, we can discuss that. But we don't want to get too technical into the too technical stuff right now.
There was a question as well, Steve, from Carl at Broad Place, who submitted it in advance. I don't know if you want me to answer that, which was about, given that we have more of an end in sight with the vaccine, how and should agencies tailor their outreach approach to demonstrate value to businesses seeking to recover revenue and return to normal? Do you remember that? That was sent to you on email.
Oh, yes, of course. Do you have that?
So for me, I think I'll be a little bit hesitant to be appearing to jumping on the bandwagon just yet. That we are all elated in the UK and probably across the world to hear that there's a vaccine, but I think it's still, we're still in this for the long haul. And I would, I'm not sure. I think that now there's so many businesses that would have been approached by agencies that are talking about how can we help you through coronavirus and how can we help you through this pandemic. And I think with any of your approach, I would maybe just kind of stay away from all of that. I think for me, it's more about, okay, a particular company, what is it what are the challenges a particular company or a particular sector are facing, and how as an agency can you help them?
Yeah, cool. No, that's pretty good advice. We tend to not want to stick our necks up because who actually knows what's going to come up the pipeline?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think businesses are not looking at returning to normal just quite yet.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, I think, for the most part, just as from a big picture perspective, I think just to add on to what Lucy said, this is a time, it's funny, when the first lockdowns were happening in April, May, I was talking to someone, they're saying, this is a time in human history where it's okay to ask for help. So, Lucy's here, I'm here, I'm sure there's other people in the room who are more than happy to, by all means, reach out to us. That's specifically what Lucy and I do, is we support digital agencies. So if you've got questions, that's why I say with the technical stuff, guys, I'll reach out to you afterwards by all means and happily introduce you to my team who can help you out with those questions. Get in touch with Lucy if you didn't have the balls, and nobody's criticizing you for that, if you didn't have the balls to put your campaign up for review today, I think it worked out beautifully with time, but if you'd like Lucy to just take a look and you want to start a conversation with her, she's clearly pretty great at what she does in helping digital agencies. And this is a time when digital agencies need help. It's a time where the competition's gone mad. For those who haven't noticed, everybody's opening up their own digital agency because it's an industry that can survive through pandemics. We can work from home, that sort of thing. So you know, this is a time to ask for help. And if you do need the help, by all means, jump in and come forward. Yeah, Luce, I think.
Yeah, definitely. There was a question, but it's gone because I think I answered it. But I answered it and typing. But it was from an anonymous attendee, and it was about how do you build an internal kind of new business culture and get everyone involved in your business. So I answered that by just directing someone, whoever that person was, to a blog post that I'd written on my website. So yeah, I would say if you're stuck with anything, just reach out to me. But have a look at my website, which is lucysnellonline.com, because there's so much free stuff on there. Like blog posts, it's all around agency new business, nothing else. But you can download a free new business playbook, and there's loads of different posts on there which are more like how to do this, how to do that, which should rather than opinion pieces. So they're super helpful.
And guys, I know there were a few questions. Thank you, Scott. Scott says great call, guys. Well done, Lucy.
Thank you.
What about me? I was here. Just a few things. Firstly, there were a couple of things mentioned in the group, in the call co-schedule. There was that good podcast that you mentioned about improving landing pages. Guys, I'll grab all that information from Luce, and when we send out a thank you email to you guys, just to thank you.
Cool.
I will give you all the relevant links. Also, by the way, is there any birthdays in the group? If you are and you want a happy birthday, birthday. The reason I bring it up is
I thought I know of one.
She's going to kill me because she didn't want me to make a big deal about it, but it was my assistant Haley who organized, between Lucy and her, they organized this whole event. So happy birthday to Haley. If you guys want to shoot a quick message through so I can pass it on to, she's in the group. And please, guys, do give us feedback. You know, of course, reach out to Lucy, reach out to me, but you know, if you'd like us to do another one of these, maybe a full one of just surgeries on campaigns, maybe more from Lucy's years of experience, you know, by all means, you know, we've obviously got the community. If you're not a member of the community, we've got a Facebook community called the Digital Marketing Cowork Collective. We'll shoot you the link to that as well so you can join. But yeah, if there's nothing else, happy birthday, Haley. Thank you, Scott. I'll pass it on. She's in the group. But yeah, guys, if you do have anything else, shoot through now. Otherwise, we can call it. And thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity as well. It's been brilliant. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. And thanks as well to 1440 and Whitespace for being brave enough to be in the hot seats today.
Yeah, and you know, if you guys want to share the value you got out of the people, that would also be great. But yeah, thank you guys. And Lucy, thank you so much as always. It's always
no worries.
My head always hurts a little bit after conversations because I'm like,
I know
that was. I need to take that all in, but that was really good, man. You, as always, you didn't let us down.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Well, have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, guys.
And yeah, anyone, just feel free to message me if you've got any questions.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Take care.